My name is Rita Dove,
My name is Fred Viebahn.
and we want to pay homage to Mick Fedullo, who is a very old friend, dear friend. We were as shocked and heart-stricken as I think all of us, were to hear of Mick's passing. I went to school with Mick at the University of Iowa, and I still remember when we arrived in Arizona years and years ago, that Mick was one of the first people to call us up, and he called me, and the first thing he said was, "What's a nice black girl like you doing in a place like this?" And I had to burst out laughing. That was the kind of relationship we had. It was close. We understood each other, and he could make jokes about things like that. He met Fred, and we rapidly became really close friends all together. We spent so many afternoons and evenings on the Pima, with the Pima Indian community, picnics, Thanksgivings, all sorts of things. And so that was the measure of the friendship, which was deep and fun-loving and free. But then there was the other side of Mick, and that was the incredible work he was doing with poetry in the Indian communities, so that when I became poet laureate, it was for me a no-brainer that I would try to get Mick and some of his students to the Library of Congress, and we did, and it remains one of the most memorable things that I did while I was poet laureate. His was a large and generous, wonderful heart and brain, and he will be missed.
I want to add a little anecdote that Mick and I experienced with Rita, my daughter Aviva, in the mid-80s. I think it was either 85 or 86, I'm not quite sure. So our daughter was either 2 or 3 years old. Rita was on a book tour, so she wasn't at home in Phoenix and Tempe, and Mick invited me and our daughter to come up to his place in Globe. At that time he was not teaching in Sackatoon anymore, but he was teaching on the White River Apache, for the White River Apache community, and lived in Globe. So we went up there for the weekend. Mick wanted to make dinner. Of course, he was trying to decide what he could make that a 2 or 3-year-old would like. We went to the supermarket together, and I had told him that our daughter loves chicken fingers especially, but she didn't like any kind of seafood at that time. So we went by and looked at the frozen foods, and Mick suddenly saw popcorn shrimp. And our daughter, who didn't know what popcorn shrimp was, looked at it interestedly too, because to her it looked like fried chicken, I guess.
Chicken nuggets?
Chicken nuggets, yeah. So Mick said, "Oh wow, those are great chicken nuggets. Would you like to eat them for dinner?" And she said, "Yes, I want chicken nuggets, I love chicken nuggets." So we bought the shrimp, we went back to Mick's apartment, and Mick made dinner. And we put the chicken nuggets in front of our daughter, and she began to eat them with relish. She ate about half the plate when I made the mistake, as a stupid father I am, by saying, "Ha ha, this actually was not chicken nuggets, this was popcorn shrimp." At which point our daughter got so furious at us that she pushed the plate away. The the shrimp flew all over the table, and she screamed, and of course she felt totally betrayed. That was not a very pedagogical thing of me to do, but so we tried to calm her down. Eventually we did calm her down, but she didn't touch the shrimp anymore, and then she didn't eat shrimp for many years. Now she does eat it again. So we always had a great time with Mick. We would see him for picnics, as Rita mentioned, and Then we saw him the last couple of times. He visited us once here in Charlottesville, Virginia in the early 90s. Then we saw him at the Library of Congress in 1994. And we visited him in Pryor, Montana for 2 or 3 days for a long weekend, I think, in 98, I believe.
Might have been.
Or 96. 96, it was in 96. And then we didn't see him for a long time, just we were so far apart. And we visited him again for the last time we saw him in 2011 when we drove from Canada back to the States, and we went through Hardin and we spent a really nice afternoon with him. And we have been corresponding ever since, and Mick actually had planned to come to an event at the Phoenix Art Museum in December where Rita and 2 of her other classmates, they were all classmates together, as Rita mentioned, at the University of Iowa in 1975, 1976, when Rita and Joy Harjo and Sandra Cisneros, they're having an event, and Mick was really looking forward to coming down to Phoenix on December 1st for that event. Alas, it wouldn't be anymore.
Yeah, we were looking forward to it too. Because wherever he went, he brought some kind of joy and a lovely, I don't know what you want to call it, kind of, you know, he could be ironic, but it was always filled with joy. So it was never mean-spirited, it was always filled with joy.
He was a real soft soul.
Yeah, great soul. So we miss him,
We miss him.
and we love him, and we're going to fill the space with love thinking of him.